Hello and welcome to the curriculum preview for the third 6 weeks for 6th grade. Our focus this 6 weeks is really on our novel study, The Watsons Go to Birmingham, as well as writing of an expository essay and participating in the process of research. There are many things to consider this 6 weeks, but we always start with what the standards require. The first standard we look at is Standard 3A, and that has us trying to identify an implicit theme and to distinguish between a theme versus a topic. Standard 6A is our standard parts of the plot triangle, and students should be familiar with this. 6B focuses on dialect and conversational voice in looking at the areas of plot and how characters are revealed through the dialect and conversational voice. 6C looks at point of view. This is a review standard. It was really started in the 3rd grade, so students should have familiarity with point of view. Standard 8A is figurative language and how that figurative language creates meaning, and it specifically looks at hyperbole, personification, and refrains, but students should have some familiarity with things such as simile and metaphor as well. Standard 12A asks students to follow instructions to complete a task, and 12B asks them to interpret information from charts and graphs and any graphic sources. It's important that we note also our process skills, especially our Figure 19 skills, and how those Figure 19 skills overlay with each of our isolated standards. When we looked at the release star, 48% of the star came from Figure 19. It was not isolated skills. So we have to remember that skills cannot be taught in isolation from these metacognitive processes, especially from inferring and summarizing. When we look at that assessment, we're going to look at some sample questions from the standards that are taught this 6 weeks. So we'll start with 6A, and the question was paragraphs 1 through 8 contribute to the plot by, and then they offer things that have other things about plot. So there's a resolution, because resolve is problems, a description, a conflict, and then a setting. So the students would have to look at all 8 paragraphs, which is pretty big, and then decide which of those best fits. The second question on 6A is why do they mark a turning point in the story? So that's going to be important that they can identify a specific time where the action changed, and that's straight off of the plot diagram and how they can do that. Then 6C asks about the first person point of view and what it helps the reader understand. It's not enough that students can just identify it's first person, it's third person, it's this, but what does that do to you as a reader? So it takes it a little bit deeper, and it has the student make an inference as well. On 8A, a figurative language standard, it says read this sentence, and then the author uses the sentence to show what. Now if you notice, 8A says it's creating meaning through figurative language. Nowhere in this question is it asking them to identify the type of figurative language or what does the simile do. It does sometimes ask that, but it can also say, how does this language show this? So it goes back to the author's craft of showing and not telling, and so we need to help the kids do that, but that's an inferential skill, so we have to make sure they understand that. Another 8A question is read this sentence. The author uses a simile to reveal that Charlie Joe's father. So the students have to be able to identify the simile, grinned like an evil wizard, and then they also have to say, what does that do? Again, make that inference. Grinned like an evil wizard tells what about the father? So it's a multiple step. So you can notice from those questions, we've got to go a little bit deeper than just knowing what to do with that standard. So some resources for conventions for as we teach this 6 weeks, we can start with quotations, because one of our standards, 6B, is about dialogue and conversational voice, and one of the things to know about that is how to use it appropriately, especially in your writing. So we have a mini lesson, number 15, in the Mini Lessons for Revision book by Susan Guy, and that's a great option. We also have a variety of sentences, which is always an issue with writing, even when we're doing the expository essay and when we're doing research. So varying sentence patterns and lengths for good variety is another mini lesson. It's mini lesson 17 in mini lessons for revision. And also our simple steps to our sentence sense can help with that. We need to think about what works together this 6 weeks. The expository essay and the research process, to me, partner, because you wouldn't have to do two separate pieces. You could do research to write your expository essay. Transitions and sentence variety go right into your essay as well. And then figure 19 goes with theme, plot, sensory language, and your procedural text. Some other resources to address some reading skills are a YouTube video on finding theme. The Pixar's For the Birds is a small little cartoon, and the actions in that follow a plot diagram perfectly. So it's a great way to introduce that, and it's high interest. There's also Quizlet flashcards for figurative language, just to help the kids have a way to remember what that language is. As always, I'm here to help you, so just contact me if you have any questions or concerns, and I look forward to seeing you. Bye.